Hello, here in this video we're going to be looking at that sequence test review that we saw in class a little bit. I'll be going more in depth into some of those different concepts. So here's a list of the arithmetic stuff that we'll be expected to know how to do. Here's the different topics. The ones that are starred in red will be ones I'm about to go into more detail with. Here's the list of stuff for geometric sequences featuring our video exclusive topic. And then 8, 9, and 10, you can pick those up from looking back over some of your notes. And true or false, you'll just have to have a good understanding of sequences to answer those very well. Alright, so the first thing we saw in there was writing an explicit formula for a sequence. And this is what we had done yesterday in class and the days before, where we're given a sequence, find that first term, find that common difference, plug in your first term in that common difference into the explicit formula. So number 2 is something that we will want to talk about here. I know we'll need more practice. Alright, and that's rewriting in function notation and simplifying. Now function notation is when we use f of n, right? And all it is simplifying our explicit formula. So say I have an explicit formula here, right? I can simplify it by doing some distributing. So here we see me taking this 5, distributing it to the n, distributing it to the -1, right, which gives us our next line, in which we see, hey, I have some like terms there. And then to write out our final answer, we need to use function notation. So we'll be using f of n is equal to, and then I have my 5n, and this -3 and this -5 put together gives me a -8. Right, now the key component there, and that what makes this our answer, not only that we simplified, that we used f of n as our function notation. Right, so a similar process would happen here. I have to distribute my -4. I'd have to distribute my -4 to our -1 here. So then we have our 7, and we have our -4n, and we have our +4. So then for that final answer, we need our f of n to equal to that -4n, because we always put our variable terms first, plus n11. And then we know that we're good to go because we have our function notation f of n there. All right, so the third thing on our list is, as it slowly scrolls, and there's just a reminder, you must use that f of n notation. All right, now number 3 on the list is to write in function notation. This is kind of a combination of items 1 and 2. I'll give you a sequence of numbers. You'll have to first be able to write the explicit formula, like we did in step 1. And then you have to do what you did in step 2 to simplify it and put your answer into function notation. All right, there's kind of 1 and 2 combined there. All right, so item number 4, that's finding future terms using a formula or a function. So for example, they could give it to you 3 different ways. They could say find A8, find f of 8, or find the 8th term. These are all different ways of saying take your formula, right? Could be explicit, could be a function, and it's asking you just to plug in certain values for n, right? Because n's always the number of term. So like on this one here, we have to plug in an 8. Right? If we're given a function, we find our n, we'd plug in an 8. Okay, so it looked like this. We'd be looking for our 8th term. So then we have our plus, and then we have an 8 minus a 1 times a 5. Right, just like over here, we'd have our f of 8 is equal to our -4 times an 8 plus a 6. Get this out of our way here now. And then we'd just be calculating out what these numbers ended up being, right? So this one ends up being, I believe, a 32. Let's even double check that. Yeah, 32. Right, and this one ends up being a -26. All right, that's how we find future terms. You take what your n is and you plug it in. All right, so another part is being able to write the explicit formula for geometric, right? Maybe where we are multiplying. So we have that first term, we have that common ratio raised to the n minus 1. Now we use fractions to denote division. So say we had a sequence like this. Say it was 8, 4, 2, and then a 1, and it continues on. To write the geometric formula for that, instead of saying dividing by 2, we'd say our AN here is equal to our first term's an 8. Our common ratio is a 1/2 here. And then we have that n minus 1 up top. All right? So keep that in mind because we are always multiplying. So if we multiply by fractions, that can accomplish the concept of division. All right, so define future terms with geometric, like one we just had. Once again, you just plug in the number for n that you're given. But be careful with exponents on your calculators. Make sure that when you're entering in this exponent area that you go ahead and do whatever n minus 1 is to save yourself from accidentally pushing some wrong buttons and so on. All right, so here's that video exclusive topic, writing in function notation when we are geometric. All we have to do is change a of n to f of n, right? And that's because the formula is already simplified. Earlier in the video, we saw when we were changing arithmetic over that we actually had to simplify that formula out. Geometric is already all the way simplified. So if I'd given you one in explicit form of geometric and I asked you for that function notation, your answer is literally just to switch it over the an to an f of n. So it ended up looking the exact same after that. All right, and so that's all it is for that. Just literally changing an to f of n. So hopefully with this video exclusive, now that you've seen that, you'll remember that. So with geometric, right, since there's nothing to simplify here, right, and we haven't learned about our rules of exponent, but we'll learn that this is indeed simplified as far as we can make it already. The reason I can't multiply this -2 by this 1/2 is because by order of operations, I'd have to take care of these exponents first. All right? So that's kind of just a brief overview of some different topics. Now, you will still want to do a lot of individual studying here based on these different topics. You want to make sure that you're clear on how to do a lot of these different things. So look back through those notes, look back through some of those different Springboard pages to piece together some of this stuff to get prepared for this test. And we'll also be seeing one more day in class together as well.